Picture this. You're walking through a neighborhood in Rome. Colorful sheets hanging between balconies, shirts swaying in the wind above the cobblestone streets. It looks like a postcard. Now, you fly to Mexico City. Same thing. Clotheslines stretched across rooftops. A family's entire week of laundry drying under the sun. Tokyo, same. Bangkok, same. Cape Town, same. Now, land in a suburb in Ohio. Nothing. Clean streets, green lawns, and zero clothes hanging outside. And here's the part that'll blow your mind. In some American neighborhoods, if you hang your laundry outside, you can actually get fined. A legal penalty for drying your clothes in the sun. How did the most powerful country on earth become the one place where hanging laundry outside is controversial? That's exactly what we're answering today. Let's start with something important. Air drying clothes is not a sign of poverty. It's not a sign of being underdeveloped. It is the default for most of human civilization. In Italy and Spain, apartment buildings are literally designed with drying racks built into the balconies. In Japan, one of the most technologically advanced countries on the planet, hanging laundry outside is completely normal. In Mexico, Brazil, and across most of the world, it's just what you do. The sun is free. The wind is free. Why wouldn't you use them? Here's the number that puts it all in perspective. Roughly 75 to 80% of the world's population regularly air dries their laundry. The United States is the exception, not the rule. So what happened? To answer that, we need to go back to the late 1940s. World War II just ended. Soldiers are coming home. The economy is booming, and there's a massive need to house millions of returning veterans fast. This is when the Great Suburban Expansion begins, and it changes everything. Developers start building entire towns from scratch. Thousands of nearly identical homes marketed as the American dream made physical. A house, a lawn, a garage, a life. And these homes came with something new, the electric clothes dryer. Dryers had existed since the 1930s, but they were expensive and unpopular. It wasn't until the post-war manufacturing boom that they became affordable, and companies like Whirlpool and General Electric went all in on marketing them as symbols of modernity, of progress, of the American way of life. The message was clear. If you're still using a clothesline, you're living in the past. And it worked. By the 1960s, dryer ownership had exploded. But that's only half the story. As the suburbs grew, something else took shape alongside them. The Homeowners Association, HOAs, started as a way to protect property values. If everyone keeps their home to a certain standard, the whole neighborhood stays attractive. Reasonable enough. But over time, HOAs developed very specific rules about appearances, and clotheslines became a target. The argument was aesthetic. A clothesline looked messy. It looked low income. It didn't fit the image of a well-kept suburban neighborhood. So HOAs started banning them. And by the 1970s and 80s, these bans were everywhere. Today, somewhere between 60 and 80 million Americans live in HOA-governed communities. And a significant number of those HOAs still have written rules prohibiting outdoor clotheslines. Tens of millions of Americans literally cannot legally hang their laundry outside even if they wanted to. Now, let's talk about what this actually costs. The average American household does about 400 loads of laundry per year. A typical dryer uses around 5 kilowatt hours per cycle. That's roughly 2,000 kilowatt hours a year, just for drying clothes, which adds up to about $150 to $200 on your electricity bill annually. Multiply that across 80 million dryer-owning households, and we're talking about a staggering amount of energy consumed to do something the sun does for free. Studies estimate dryers account for about 6% of all residential electricity use in the U.S., more than your refrigerator. Some states have actually pushed back. Florida, Colorado, Hawaii, Vermont, they've passed right-to-dry laws that limit HOAs from banning clotheslines. And in Europe, rising energy costs have made outdoor drying more popular than ever. In Mexico, it was never abandoned in the first place. And that's what I find most fascinating about all of this. America didn't move away from clotheslines because they don't work. They work perfectly. Your clothes actually last longer when you air dry them, and that's just physics. America moved away from them because of image. Because at one specific moment in history, a clothesline became associated with the old world, with poverty, with not having made it. The dryer wasn't just a convenience, it was a status symbol. And that's not a criticism. Every culture makes decisions based on the values of their time and place. Mexico never had the same suburban HOA culture, so the clothesline was never stigmatized. Italy and Japan had different relationships with space and tradition, so outdoor drying stayed practical and even beautiful. None of these is inherently better. A family in Milan hanging laundry on a terrace isn't more virtuous than a family in Minnesota using a dryer in January when it's minus 10 degrees outside. Context always matters. But what's worth thinking about is how easily a practical decision becomes cultural identity, how a marketing campaign can turn a behavior into a social signal, and how those signals get so embedded that we stop questioning them entirely. Most Americans have never once asked themselves, why don't I hang my clothes outside? It just feels normal. It feels like what you do. And that's exactly what makes it so interesting to unpack. Next time you throw a load into the dryer, just think for a second about the chain of events that made that the default. The post-war boom, the appliance industry, the HOA movement, the way modern got defined in one cultural moment and then hardened into rules and habits that have lasted 70 years. That's a lot of history sitting in your laundry room. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you live in an HOA? Have you ever been told you can't hang clothes outside? Or are you watching from Mexico, Europe, or somewhere else? And this whole thing sounds completely insane to you? Drop it in the comments. I read them all. If you found this interesting, hit subscribe. There's a whole series here exploring the hidden logic behind American habits and how they look from the outside. See you in the next one.